obviously there's stressful moments on tour. Everyone's got their tour stories or their horror stories on tour, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the bad stuff actually happened to the other bands. So we were kind of just like, sweet, we're just gonna open.
So this podcast is all about you, your journey in music, and obviously talk about the new Settle Your Score stuff.
Sweet.
Cool.
Love it.
From Cincinnati?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to college in Cincinnati, UC area. And then I met the SYS boys there. I moved back home to Columbus for a little while I was in the band to work. And then I moved back to Cincinnati permanently.
Right on. Have you seen the new Indians logo?
I have the Guardians. It's pretty.
Oh my, it's pretty trash, huh? What do you think?
I was gonna say I'm a Reds fan, so.
Oh, you don't really care.
I've seen some messages and like some comments about the new Indians logo or the Guardians logo. I don't know. It's definitely different. I don't know if it's horrible, but it's definitely, I don't know.
The logo itself is pretty trash. Okay, so I guess I should give you some backstory. My family is all from Cleveland. I personally grew up in San Diego. I was born and raised in San Diego, but my family's from Cleveland. One of my uncles went to Ohio State, and we'd go down into Columbus for the games. It was crazy to see like a football game there at that stadium, and I'm sure that you're obviously fully embraced in the Buckeyes culture growing up there.
Yeah,
but I get the name change, and then I was like, the Guardians. I mean, now that I hear it more, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not horrible, but the logo looks like it was made by like a kindergartner on paint.
Right. The font is definitely, I think it leaves a little bit to be desired, but I'm not a designer.
Baseball with the G's like hooked onto it. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like they could have put a little bit more work into it, if you ask me. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's like a first draft. Maybe they'll change it up.
I hope so. But I don't know. They put in a lot of money into their little teaser video that they're going to be called the Guardians. Now they haven't changed their Twitter handle though, which is interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but enough about baseball. So Columbus, talk to me about being born and raised there. Obviously a big college town.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's like the whole thing with Columbus is Buckeye fever because OSU is there. But growing up in Columbus, man, I lived in the suburbs, like pretty standard childhood. Great parents, great family. I was really lucky to have my family around and friends. I went to Catholic school for most of my life. So
right on.
I guess that's where I get my rebellious streak.
Was it all boys school?
My high school actually was an all boys school. Yeah. So
I know a lot of people, and I mean, at least in my experience, aunts and uncles and stuff, a lot of their kids went to Catholic school too.
It's interesting. I mean, it was definitely a good education. Mm-hmm. And I met some cool people, but I'm not super religious. So
well, so how'd you get into music? When did you get into music?
Dude, I've been into music like my whole life. Like even if I wasn't playing instruments, like I just loved it. So I started like actually playing and performing in like 7th grade, like middle school, like 7th grade. I was like 12 years old. I bought a bass guitar because there at my school there was like this 8th grade talent show, and that was kind of like your final hurrah. Like you would like prove yourself to everybody, like show your talent. And so my buddies formed a band. They had a guitarist, they had a drummer, they had vocals, and of course they didn't have a bass player because when you're like 13, who the hell wants to play bass?
Yeah, right. It was just like whoever gets stuck playing bass.
So I'm like, hey guys, like I'll play bass. And so I got this bass guitar off of Musician's Friend. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I remember. Oh yeah.
It was like the paper catalog.
Okay.
So I ordered, it was like a fire red, like over the top. It was super cheap though. Like it wasn't a good looking bass. It just looked cool in the picture. It was just like red as hell, off brand. I don't even remember the brand. And then I started learning from then on. I didn't even have a bass amp. Like I just borrowed my buddy's guitar amp. I didn't even know there was a difference between the two. Mm-hmm. And I just practiced. Like we played this, the singer of the band, he wrote a song, and we just practiced it over and over. And I would just learn like other covers like while I was practicing. And then that kind of evolved into me wanting to play guitar because I thought guitar was really cool. I was into like Avenged Sevenfold and like watching people shred. Like I thought that was super, super badass. So I started playing electric guitar, and that kind of transitioned into, well, you know, like singing's pretty cool. Like so is screaming. So I started learning how to scream with like Under Oath and like just like those old school like emo screamo, like you know,
bands,
whatever the genre is called, post-hardcore, like bands like
right.
and like crabcore bands too were a huge influence on me. Attack Attack. So I started screaming, and then I was like, well, I want to do both, so I learned how to sing. And then I never actually fronted a band with like clean vocals for a while, and then I finally met the Settle Your Scores boys through Craigslist.
Really? You guys met on
Yeah.
Craigslist?
Yeah. So I was auditioning for bands all over Cincinnati when I was in college because I really wanted to sing in a rock band. And it was like Breaking Benjamin type bands, and they all rejected me. And then I saw some demos for like our first album, like before it was an album, on Craigslist, and then I went and auditioned, and then I got it.
They didn't have lyrics or anything? It was just the music?
Just straight demo instrumental. And then they sent me one song that had lyrics. It was Loose Lips. And I sang that for the audition, and they were like, all right, sweet, you're in. And I was like, all right, cool.
Wow. Were they all originally from Cincinnati? Or
yeah. So the guys that were in the band at that time, it was just Ricky and Caleb. They are from an older band called Radio Rescue. So they broke up and they kind of reformed those two. It's like a separate project, Settle Your Scores. They didn't have the name or anything, but they wanted to keep doing that style of music. So, and then we had a bass player at the time that's not our bass player anymore. We got a new bass player after him. But yep, did a little audition, and then we found our guitarist and bass player on Craigslist too.
Wow. What was it like going into that? I've heard this story before, but I've also heard people be like, I would never do that. Like, was it, you got to really put yourself out there to show up at these places and, you know, meet people you've never met and see if you gel with them. And then you kind of have to form this bond, you know, a bond that way. And
I totally understand. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Walking up, I was super, super nervous because I had auditioned before, but it was like for people that like I knew, kind of like I didn't know them personally, but like I knew of them. With these guys, no Ricky, I didn't know Caleb. I had never even been like to that side of Cincinnati before because I was still pretty new to the area. I even like parked my car like a mile down the road just in case. I don't know why. I just freak out. Like if I'm going to meet somebody, like in case I got to make a quick getaway, my car's down and like sprint away. So I had my car like a mile away, and I you know, got to the front door and everyone was like super normal. So it was just like,
you're going to walk just like To Catch a Predator situation.
You never know, man. Like when you meet people on the internet, people try to rob people, all that, but no, they're I mean, clearly, you know what I mean?
Sure. Wow. Well, so you went in and sang that Loose Lips song. Did you do it like a cover, or how quickly did they go, all right, this dude's the band lead, this guy's going to be in the band?
I honestly, like, I was so nervous, dude. Like, I don't remember exactly how they like got me into the band. I don't remember if it was there or like a day or two after, but they were pretty much on board with it. So we went with it.
That's rad. So then the band starts, and what happens next? You start playing locally around Cincinnati?
Yeah. After that, we didn't play a show for a while because we wanted our first show, like as a band, to be really, really poppin'. We basically just practiced like all the time. We would practice like twice a week in this basement. And so we were going to actually get music out there before we performed our first show, because that way you could have people come to the show and then they know your songs and it's cool. So we had recording time booked it was me, everybody in the band, and then we had the bassist who is no longer with us. This is kind of where he cut ties. So after that, we booked the recording time. The bassist just like dipped. He was like, hey guys, like I actually am not gonna like help pay for recording. Sorry, see you later. And so we had to like, we had to fork over way more money between all four of us. But then we went and recorded it, obviously. like Ricky, and we had another guy that could play bass that came and kind of filled in for the recording session. And then once we got those songs recorded, it was our like first EP ever with like the Target art. It was like Poster Boys, Worst Intentions, and Behind the Scene.
Mm-hmm.
We played our first show. It was really, really cool. And then just kept ripping gigs after that. Like we kept, playing shows. We got some hype online. We released our first album, went on some pretty big tours to tour on that album, The Wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another, and then we have our third album on the way.
Sure. Oh, I want to rewind a bit if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
Actually, I never asked you, did you go to school in Cincinnati for music, or did you go for something totally different?
No, dude, I went to business school.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of translates with what it translates to with
Sure.
what I guess you guys are doing your own business in a sense.
Yeah. Market sales.
Yeah. Okay. So you put out that first EP and you said you started getting some traction online, and like, how did that happen? And like, do you remember like specific moments from that?
Absolutely, dude. Because I remember we released, it was the 3 songs, and there were all these Facebook groups. Like that was when like Facebook groups were popping off, like for the first. And so we joined, I forget what it was named at the time, but right now it's currently named the Revive Easy Core group, like 9.0 or something. Been renamed.
You're still a part of it? That's awesome.
Oh, dude, yeah. That was where most of our diehard fans came from in the beginning. Like, I still salute that group anytime I talk about any sort of like hype being brought up when we started, because they shared the shit out of all our songs when we started.
Awesome.
A lot of people compared us to like City Lights and 4 Years Strong and like, bands that we all loved. So we were super hyped. And then, after we got the actual album out, the album started getting shared a lot more. For some reason, Spotify like loved us and put some of our songs on some playlists, which like at the time people didn't understand how crucial that was to get your band anywhere. Like those algorithmic ones. So we were lucky enough to have a couple of the Wilderness songs on algorithm playlists for a while. And I think that's kind of how we got, that hype, was like that initial sharing of everything. And then Spotify kind of just like did us a huge solid for some reason.
That's crazy. That's cool. I mean, imagine like seeing the numbers go up. Was that something that kind of, I would imagine, be pretty
dude,
addictive? Like, okay, what are we at now? What are we at now? I mean, like seeing like your first 1 million plays, that must have been a massive moment for you. Even like probably first 100,000, like what were the milestones?
It was definitely gradual over time, but I mean, for me personally, this is and probably always will be the like most successful band I've been in terms of like streaming numbers and stuff. Like we had never, I don't think any of us had ever like really gotten that like global attention, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Spotify, they get your music out everywhere. So I think we were just lucky that we got placed. Honestly, it was definitely a great feeling.
Sure. Did that help? You said you got on some pretty big tours with that Wilderness record.
Yeah. So we toured with, it was called Guardians of Easy Core. So it was all over the country, and a band called Abandoned by Bears from Sweden came over to the States for their big tour. They had just signed with Victory Records, and then also toured with For the Win, who I think they were also on Victory at the time. So we were like, oh my God, like we're touring with signed bands. This is crazy. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we toured all over. A lot of people got sick on that tour. There were a lot of, bits and pieces that got messed up, but it was a great time. It was super
Did you have
cool.
to like pull a van together? Like, what was it like? Was that your first big tour? And it's okay. We got to get a van and a trailer.
Yeah,
that must have been exciting though.
Oh, it was super, super exciting, dude. I love touring. Obviously there's stressful moments on tour. Everyone's got their tour stories or their horror stories on tour, whatever. But most of the bad stuff actually happened to the other bands. So we were kind of just like, sweet, we're just going to open. I felt bad for the other guys. For the Win, their singer got like deathly ill. And then like everyone else in their band got deathly ill. And then Abandoned by Bears, their driver just like up and quit. Like they couldn't drive legally, obviously, because they were out of the country. So their driver just like was like, fuck this, I'm going home. And he like left them stranded. So half the tour we had to drive Abandoned by Bears around. So like we were all crammed in our van.
Oh my gosh. So he bailed with what? Their van as well?
The guy had the van. He was just like, I'm not left them sort of like.
What did they do to him? Or it was just random?
I think what the issue was, he was in a band too at the time. I don't know if they were called Southview. He was the driver for them, and then he also wanted to like open acoustically. And we were like, that's totally chill, dude. Like, go for it. I think he got like upset that he wasn't getting like attention because he was opening or something. I don't know. I think it was because all bands were like chatting with people and like selling merch, and he was just kind of like the driver. And it's like, dude, you volunteered to drive. Like,
right. Yeah, he wasn't getting in the spotlight. It wasn't like, and I'm also an artist, and it's right. Like, no, dude, you're the driver.
Yeah, he kind of had like an ego problem, and he like went on
like it
and like tried to. He just tried to like talk trash about them all the time. Like they were the ones that like left me. It's like, dude, no, like they couldn't drive. Like what do you
yeah, how'd they leave? Right.
Like we're all over here saying like, yo, don't do that.
Right on. Are you guys on a label?
We are on a label right now. We're on Mutant League Records. They've been sick. I love them, and I've loved like all the bands they've ever signed. So I was super hyped when they wanted to work with us.
And was that after you had put out The Wilderness?
So we released a second album under Sharp Tone Records.
Okay, I know that label.
Yep, they have a huge catalog of like really big metal bands. At the time, I guess they were just really into pop punk. They signed some pop punk bands that we toured with, but I guess they kind of shifted focus. All those bands are no longer with the label. But then, you know, we had our third release planned, so we were like, yo, let's just start submitting. And then Mutant League was like, yo, and we were like, yo, let's do this.
Yeah, they had like the movie Life is the one I remember them having.
The what? I'm sorry.
The Movie Life. Do they still have that band?
On the top, I'm not sure if they have them still, but like the band that like really, when I was like, oh crap, Mutant League was, they had Belmont for a while before they signed to Pure Noise. So we were like,
yeah, okay.
And also, I think they had Seaway before Seaway signed to Pure Noise.
They did have Seaway. I remember that. And I think they had Alistair also.
Alistair is dope. I think that was one of the other bands we were like, oh my God.
So that you said that you were on, sorry, you signed to another label before Mutant League?
Yeah.
Sharp Tone? Mm-hmm. What was that like? Or was that your first record label experience? And that must have been big for you guys.
That was crazy. That was like kind of like the 13-year-old me that bought the bass guitar was like, dude, you finally got it. Like you finally made it, man.
Right.
So they were great. You know, I think the main reason we just didn't really get super, like, I don't know how to phrase it. I think the reason that we didn't grow as much with them is their expertise was not pop punk. So that's all I'm going to say.
Right. I mean, they had a lot of heavy bands.
Yeah. And they, like I said, they were a great label. They, you know, shot some really awesome videos for us. They, you know, had us come out to California. It was really cool. Like it was a great experience, but I just realized my camera fell. In terms of what we were looking for, and I think also what they were looking for, they're looking for more like the heavy bands, and we're a pop punk band. You know what I mean? We're heavy at some point, like at some points, but some of the direction.
But you're not bleeding through, right?
Yeah, no, we're not.
You know what I mean? I mean that makes like those are more of the bands that they had.
For sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So did they put you on a tour with any of their artists?
No, that was one of the things where we were like, well, you know, there's a lot of these big bands that you guys have. We do have like metalcore sounding songs. I mean, obviously not their responsibility to place us on tours with their bands, but I feel like things could have been done. They just didn't get done. I mean, you know, it is what it happens.
And was that with the Better Luck Tomorrow album? Is this what we're talking
Yep,
about?
that was
Okay.
Better Luck Tomorrow. We did tour heavily on that record with some smaller bands. Like we toured with Sink the Ship,
Wow.
who was also on Sharp Tone at the time. We toured Telltale, who was also on Sharp Tone at the time. And then we also toured with We Were Sharks and Calling All Captains too. So we definitely like were active on it, but just I don't know. It's nothing to them, but I think it was just like a good fit, honestly.
Sure. And so you guys split ways, and the record came in 2018. When did you start writing this new album?
Ricky, our guitar player, he writes like 99% of everything, whether it's vocals, guitar, instrumentals, everything. He's been sitting on it since we released like Better Luck Tomorrow, like a few months after that. Like he had already started writing those songs. So we were here to keep more music coming. So he wrote and wrote and wrote. He had so much stuff ready to go.
So you guys just held on to it until currently?
Yep, pretty much. And then obviously COVID happened, so it's been delayed a little bit more than we would have liked to have released it. But yeah, we've had these songs for a minute, honestly. It's been a while.
Wow. What about where were you guys at when COVID happened? Were you on the road or anything?
No, we were like still kind of trying to write the songs and get the demos squared up. So it kind of happened at a good time. I mean, as horrible as COVID was, if we're
right,
talking
of course,
convenience and like we were trying to accomplish with the album. You know, we needed more time and we got more time, a little bit more time than we wanted. But yeah, we weren't on the road or anything, but we did, you know, Zoom call, band practices, all that good stuff.
How is that? Was it, I mean, with the latency and everything, were you actually able to practice, or was it more like a conversation?
We never really played out anything. We mostly just had like discussions and kind of planned for what was coming, like with labels and getting the album out there and things like that.
And how did Mutant League come into the picture? Was that during the COVID lockdown situation?
So we pretty much just started submitting demos to them. I forget exactly when we had the conversation, but it was during COVID because I remember having Zoom calls with Mutant League and the band guys while we were all locked down. So it was during COVID. I'm trying to think specifically when, but it's not like popping in my brain.
Sure. But was it like you signed the deal over Zoom?
I think it was like e-signature, or maybe we all met up. I can't remember.
But isn't that weird to think that it wasn't like you're going there, you're meeting with them, everyone's in the same room. Now, you know, you're signing a record label, is signing to another record label, like virtually like this.
Yeah.
Does it kind of take some of the, you know, I don't know,
like the oomph
celebration? Yeah, like the celebration out of it at all?
We were used to, we kind of already went through the signing process before. I'm pretty sure Sharp Tone actually just sent us stuff that we printed off and then we signed it and sent it back. So it was pretty much the same thing.
Okay. Wasn't some big celebration that you're missing out on?
We were all hyped, but yeah, we didn't like meet up or anything or party or anything like that.
Well, when did you start recording the record? If it was kind of written, you know, 2018, 2019, when did you start recording it?
I want to say, I'm trying to remember when because we recorded certain songs. It was kind of like in chunks. We went back to record during COVID because the guy we went to record with initially for all the other stuff we did with him, he was having coronavirus. Like, hey, it's like I think it was like half off for recording.
Wow.
Yeah. So we went and recorded some additional, we had like most of everything written and we went and recorded some additional stuff with him during COVID. So we recorded during 2019.
And then what'd you got? You just had to kind of sit on it. You've just been sitting on it since?
Yep.
Is there new material then? Like what have you guys been really up to? Are you just trying to come with a game plan, or like how do you adapt to the new world?
Right now, we're kind of just taking it as it comes. We actually have a couple of shows booked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, October and November. One of them is with Capstan, so I'm like really, really hype on that one. I'm trying to remember who the other bands are with on the other show, but right now we're just kind of taking it as it comes. Like some bands are touring actively,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, we have some other songs that Ricky's been working on, so we'll probably go record those at some point. I don't know if it'll be this year, but maybe next year, so that way we can just keep some fresh stuff coming for everybody.
That's cool. That's really cool. And
Yeah.
do you have a release date for the record?
Yep, the release date is August 20th, so we're
Okay.
super. I can't wait.
Are you gonna do a big release show or anything? Anything planned?
We're thinking of potentially making the release show one of these shows that we already have booked coming up, just because, you know, COVID, summertime. I don't know. We're kind of dabbling with it right now.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's cool. What? Yeah. So, like, are you excited? I mean, you must be really excited to play these shows. And have you guys had a chance to play with each other yet at all? I mean, over the
We
course of the year and a half.
Yeah, we've rehearsed a couple of times since coronavirus. Definitely some rust to shake off, but I cannot wait to get back on stage again, dude. I miss it. Like, just even practicing and like singing every Sunday, whatever day we would practice, like that's an outlet for me, man, and I miss it. So a show is just going to be like, I can't wait. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, I think it might even be somebody's first show. A lot of people's maybe first show back. You know, quite a
Extra.
like emotional moment. I would think emotional night.
It'll be emotional in general, man. Like just getting to stand up there with those guys again, for real. I miss it so much.
That's cool, man. I can't wait to have this all kind of blow over where it's
I
back
know.
to tours and seeing bands come through town. It's weird to see like bands posting like a tour poster, like we're touring. It's like, wait, what?
There's still people that I mean, I think most, if not all states, like took away mask mandates and stuff, but like
Mhm.
venues have to like obey certain laws and certain restrictions. So it's like you said, it's going to be interesting to see how things turn out with everything getting back to normal. I'm not really sure how it's going to be, but got to take it as it comes, I guess.
Yeah, because it's either going to be really more. I'm thinking it's either going to be more restricted with smaller venues, maybe like 1,000 cap and under, but or it's weird because like Bonnaroo is happening and Outside Lands is happening. It's like you're going to get like what 100,000 people together. I
Yeah,
don't know. Like that to me seems like pretty crazy.
like a super spreader event to me. I don't know.
Yeah, right. We don't know. It's crazy, but
Who
well,
knows?
yeah. Well, that's cool that you guys have some shows booked.
For sure. I'm super excited. And obviously we'll probably book more as time goes on, but
Mhm.
I think that's kind of like the plan, is just kind of take it slow, see how things are, see what happens, and then if things are Gucci, let's get back at it, boys.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much, Christian, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. I have one more question before I let you go, though. Do you
Sure.
have any advice for aspiring artists?
Advice would be just I feel like that's such a generic piece of advice, would be keep grinding, but honestly at the end of the day it really does come down to hard work when it comes to anything, not just music. When we were first starting, I would stay up till like 5 or 6 in the morning just spamming people like, hey, check out this link, hey, I saw that you like this song, hey, blah blah blah, you know what I mean, trying to grow following and stuff. um there's going to be bumps in the road, you know what I mean, whether it's on tour, whether it's at your shows. Don't let that discourage you. If music is what you really love to do, even if you're not doing it professionally, like keep playing music, because like I said before, for me it's an outlet. Like use it as an outlet, and then if you want to do professional stuff, just look up some videos on YouTube. Like it's all there. You can look up everything like how to market, how to scream, how to play guitar. It's all out there. Just keep practicing. Bringing it backward.